Rahul Gandhi was addressing students about the paper leaks, about the things
and that didn't resonate. Sorry to interrupt, but that didn't resonate as much as this did.
Correct. We didn't provide a route into our parties for the kinds of people who were in Jantar Mantar. I think we really, as the American expression goes, need to wake up and smell the coffee. Was our finger missing from the pulse of Gen Z?
Young people are disillusioned. Yes, there is a problem in education. Yes, there's a problem with climate change. Yes, there are glaring loopholes in Indian democracy. But this somehow is not resonating when it comes to the kind of movement that we saw at Jantar Mantar. That's not the same movement that is being seen for the Indian National Congress. So the thing is that the Indian National Congress, of course, like you articulated, yes, there are problems in the BJP, etc. But they've not been able to get the attention of Gen Z and Gen Alpha in that sense and to that degree and measure that the cockroaches perhaps have.
Look, I'm very, very conscious of what you said. In fact, I've happened to have written a column for next week in which I'm going to make the argument that we have to be conscious of the fact, all the opposition parties, that we didn't provide a route into our parties for the kinds of people who were in Jantar Mantar last month. And to my mind, that is actually something we really need to examine. How do young people get into established parties where there are hierarchies, entrenched establishments, dynastic considerations, political networks? How does a new young person come in? And if they come in, what do they get to do? To stand behind the established leaders, to make up the numbers in mass rallies, to do sort of foot soldier work? Can they actually be the people who make the difference? And I think one thing that I've been arguing, we haven't had an opportunity to have an internal discussion about this in any forum that I'm part of, but that's why I use the public space to make this point. I think we really, as the American expression goes, need to wake up and smell the coffee. Let not our epitaph be that we were bypassed or became irrelevant because we failed to listen. And what Rishabh has said, something that echoes with me. The established parties will cease to be relevant unless they can listen to the new voices that they haven't heard so far. And I think, frankly, we should have started hearing them already with this. Interestingly enough, the issues taken up by the CJP and the Jantar Mantar protesters had been taken up by us earlier. We had a Chhatron ki Goonj thing where Rahul Gandhi was addressing students about the paper leaks, about the things
and that
so
didn't resonate. Sorry to interrupt, but that didn't resonate as much as this did.
Correct. And that's why we need to ask ourselves, what did we fail to do? Did we fail to listen? Did we fail to tap into the old cliche of having your finger on the pulse of the people? Was our finger missing from the pulse of Gen Z? And that's something we really need to interrogate and solve it.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that Gen Z and Gen Alpha will not agree to the things that millennials did in a way. That, you know, we were, as we were talking in our academic meeting, and Amish Tripathi said this beautifully. He said, you are perhaps the most polite generation of them all, Rishabh, the millennials that are. And I don't think...
You're barely a millennial, right? You're still on the cusp or something.
Fair enough, but the idea... I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or whether to take it on the polite remark that I made. But the idea that Gen Z and Alpha are not going to, play along. They want answers and they want a better world. They are not okay with status quo.